A noble young lady awoke one night to discover a naked, handsome man lying beside her. The man had an ambiguous gaze and a suggestive tone, as if the two had shared a romantic encounter the previous night. Yesterday, the homebody college student was still hiding in her room, engrossed in reading web novels. As a veritable loser in life, her student loans were unpaid, her part-time job applications delayed, her job interviews failed, even her social media had 0 followers. In this miserable life, the girl's sole joy was chasing updates to web novels. But that night, the novel unexpectedly paused serialization. She left a furious comment berating the author. Who would have thought that upon standing up, she stepped on a bottle and fell? The girl simply lay on the floor and fell asleep. Unexpectedly, upon waking in the morning, she heard someone call her young lady. Beside her stood deferential servants. The mirror before her reflected her own image dressed as an ancient noble maiden. Shocked, she urgently asked the servant who she actually was. The servant replied she was the youngest daughter of the chief state counselor, the young mistress of the residence, Lady Chasionchik. The girl was instantly stunned. Chasionchik was the supporting female character in the novel. With disbelief, she went outside her room. After surveying the surrounding world, the girl had to accept she truly had transmigrated into the novel's world. Guided by servants, Chasionchik went to see her parents and 3 older brothers. During the meal, she discovered the entire family doted on her excessively. Breakfast was utterly delicious. Thinking of her own years surviving on instant noodles, yet now enjoying such a feast, Chasionchik happily devoured everything before her. Her father praised her delightful change and declared he would seek a good match for his marriageable daughter. Her brother suggested Chasionchik attend the Danhong gathering, a popular gathering among noble young ladies, said to help one find a good match. Tonight was the date of the monthly Danhong gathering. Her father pulled out 2 large strings of copper coins and handed them to Chasionchik. He ordered her to dress to astonish all of Hanyang, commanding her not to spare a single coin. Chasionchik obeyed her father's command with immense joy. From then on, she began enjoying the luxurious life of a noble lady being waited upon. To enter her favorite novel and become a pampered, noble lady, spending extravagantly, who would want to return to being a homebody whose life was rotten? Before attending the Danhong gathering, guided by servants, Chasionchik arrived at a clothing shop to make purchases. A maid helped Chasionchik select 2 outer garments. It was said the clothes were imported from a great nation, made of pure silk and top-tier attire. Since she couldn't possibly spend all the silver her father gave anyway, Chasionchik simply bought both garments at once. At that moment, a woman appeared wanting to seize the clothes from Chasionchik. Through the shopkeeper's introduction, Chasionchik realized with shock this was Du Huaxian, daughter of the right state counselor, the villainess who committed countless misdeeds in the novel. True to her evil reputation, Du Huaxian publicly slapped the shopkeeper, demanding servants remember their place. Seeing this, Chasionchik was infuriated. Yet to avoid attracting notice from this peerless villainess, Chasionchik suppressed her anger and politely yielded the garments to Du Huaxian, hoping only that the evil woman would leave quickly. As they spoke, a great beauty entered. The atmosphere instantly turned peculiar upon her arrival. Praise flowed freely from people's mouths. Only Du Huaxian deliberately bumped into the beauty while walking past, and continuously attacked her with slanderous words. Chasionchik then realized this beauty was the novel's female protagonist, Zhou Yunai. In the novel, Zhou Yunai lost both parents and endured many hardships, but through noble patronage, became the adopted daughter of Joseon's wealthiest man. Later, she overcame class barriers for love with the king's nephew. Unexpectedly, Du Huaxian harbored ill intentions. Du Huaxian also admired Gyeongseong-gun, viewing Zhou Yunai as a rival in love. Tonight's Danhong gathering venue was at the tea house operated by Zhou Yunai's adoptive father. Du Huaxian swore through gritted teeth to ally with Chasionchik, vowing to teach Zhou Yunai a lesson. Chasionchik observed Zhou Yunai through a telescope, discovering her beauty and kindness. Despite her own suffering, Zhou Yunai still distributed alms to the poor. She embodied every trait and halo of the female protagonist. Just as she thought this, the atmosphere around them suddenly tensed. Cha Seon-chaek looked into the distance and spotted the novel's male protagonist, Gyeong Seong-gun, making his entrance. Gyeong Seong-gun, the king's nephew, possessed noble lineage and exceptional martial prowess. He called himself the Royal Hunting Dog, claiming bloodshed followed wherever he went. Accompanying Gyeong Seong-gun was the novel's second male lead, typically gentle, refined, and erudite, who shared a complex rivalry friendship with the protagonist. They were each other's only friend, yet also love rivals willing to cross swords over the heroine, with the villainous Du Hwaseon involved. The plot was devolving into a cliched love quadrangle. To impress her beloved Gyeong Seong-gun, Du Hwaseon seized every opportunity to interfere. As the perennial supporting character who avoided conflict and lacked even a story subplot, Cha Seon-chaek watched excitedly. Being the novel's devoted fan, Cha Seon-chaek knew the plot's trajectory. After tonight's Danhong gathering, the main couple would have their destined encounter. Cha Seon-chaek sat waiting for the classic scene to unfold, planning to witness this bittersweet love quadrangle. As night fell, the long-awaited Danhong gathering finally arrived. At the gathering, young ladies flattered Du Hwaseon. Though inwardly disdaining it, Cha Seon-chaek had to chime in. After all, she was the eternal supporting character. As hostess of the tea house sponsoring the gathering, the novel's heroine Jo Yoon-ae reappeared, serving exquisite tea and desserts to the noble ladies. Du Hwaseon deliberately provoked her, releasing her cup while Jo Yoon-ae poured tea. When the heroine humbly cleaned up, Du Hwaseon kicked away the broken teacup shards, cutting Jo Yoon-ae's finger. The heroine temporarily withdrew to bandage her wound. Cha Seon-chaek kindly offered her handkerchief to Jo Yoon-ae, silently cheering for the heroine. This displeased Du Hwaseon, who switched to wagging tongues, spreading rumors about an improper relationship between Jo Yoon-ae and her adoptive father. Cha Seon-chaek burned with indignation. Witnessing the innocent female lead being bullied, Cha Seon-chaek finally couldn't hold back. She strode swiftly toward Du Hwaseon, declaring fiercely she had something to say. Yet moments later, what spilled from Cha Seon-chaek wasn't an indignant curse, but a beaming invitation instead. She proclaimed that on such a fine night, they should switch from tea to alcohol and drink together. Du Hwaseon accepted, but still targeted Jo Yoon-ae, demanding she personally pour wine. Unexpectedly, Cha Seon-chaek snatched the liquor and shielded the heroine, boasting she'd make a special bomb cocktail for the ladies. Using mixology skills learned in the modern world, Cha Seon-chaek concocted a novel liquor unknown in this story realm. Du Hwaseon took one sip and was instantly captivated. Cha Seon-chaek then instructed the ladies to line up, drinking together with everyone. Throughout the night, she mixed multiple classic bomb cocktails, thus freeing the heroine from the villainous while getting drunk herself. The next morning, Cha Seon-chaek awoke, only to feel her fingers brushing against someone's firm chest in her daze. Opening her eyes, she found a stark, naked, handsome man beside her. Looking closely, the man turned out to be male-led Gyeong Seong-gun. Night fell again. Fresh from drinking bomb cocktails, Cha Seon-chaek wandered dazedly by the riverbank, the very location where the main couple first met in the book. Thrilled with exhilaration, she awaited the iconic scene. Suddenly her foot slipped, nearly plunging her into the water. In the nick of time, novel protagonist Gyeong Seong-gun appeared and caught Cha Seon-chaek. Brimming with excitement, Cha Seon-chaek tried shaking Gyeong Seong-gun's hand as a fan, but found his sword pointed at her instead. Cha Seon-chaek brushed it off. After all, this was a fictional world. Drunkenly, she kissed Gyeong Seong-gun, declaring that as a devoted fan, she knew the true heart beneath his cold exterior. She understood this seemingly lethal male lead was actually lonely, vulnerable, and kind-hearted. Cha Seon-chaek's words struck Gyeong Seong-gun's core. That night, under her bold initiative, the male lead succumbed to her advances, sharing a wondrous night with Cha Seon-chaek. Startled awake, Cha Seon-chaek was shocked by last night's events. She planned to feign ignorance and deny responsibility, but Gyeong Seong-gun pulled her into his embrace, stroking her head with unexpected tenderness while threatening that she must not leave before his return, and must take responsibility for last night. Realizing her recklessness might have disrupted the novel's plot, Cha Seon-chaek decided to personally question the female lead. Upon meeting Jo Yoon-ae, Cha Seon-chaek asked about Gyeong Seong-gun, wondering if Jo Yoon-ae had encountered him last night. Jo Yoon-ae admitted she hadn't seen him, having heard rumors, mistakenly believing Gyeong Seong-gun was impotent and lacked interest in women. Yet Cha Seon-chaek clearly remembered Gyeong Seong-gun's vigorous energy and superb physique last night. Recalling the scenes made her flush crimson. Unaware of the reason, Jo Yoon-ae admired Cha Seon-chaek's forthrightness and proposed becoming close friends. Seeing Jo Yoon-ae's pitiable demeanor, Cha Seon-chaek recklessly reached out, agreeing to be her friend, urging Jo Yoon-ae never to undervalue herself again. But the moment she agreed, Cha Seon-chaek instantly regretted it. Now the situation had worsened. She, a minor character meant to live quietly, had not only slept with the male lead, but also became the heroine's confidant. While devising solutions, servants located her. With momentous news, marriage proposers had come to her residence today. Cha Seon-chaek rushed home immediately. En route, she encountered Gyeong Seong-gun galloping on horseback. Cha Seon-chaek desperately blocked the path. As hooves nearly trampled her, Gyeong Seong-gun's martial prowess allowed his horse to leap cleanly over her. Spared from death, Cha Seon-chaek furiously demanded why he wanted marriage. Gyeong Seong-gun declared with conviction that intimacy between man and woman logically necessitates marriage. Cha Seon-chaek made all kinds of excuses. At times, she claimed to forget last night. At times, she declared marriage couldn't be decided by one night's intimacy. Unexpectedly, Gyeong Seong-gun countered with threats. If Cha Seon-chaek refused, he would charge her entire family with the crime of stealing the chastity of a royal kinsman. Her household would face execution. Imagining her innocent family destroyed and herself possibly drawn and quartered, Cha Seon-chaek had no choice but to comply. She tried buying time by asking Gyeong Seong-gun for leeway to inform her family about the marriage. Gyeong Seong-gun agreed, but gave only 3 days. He would return to propose formally after 3 days. Cha Seon-chaek plotted to escape during this interval. Upon returning home, she immediately packed money and valuables. She refused to rise from supporting character to female lead, knowing heroines inevitably suffer hardships and dangers. Besides, Gyeong Seong-gun's true destiny was with Jo Yoon-ae. She wouldn't come between them. While speaking to servants, villainous Du Hwaseon barged in, slapping the maid who tried to block her. Just as Cha Seon-chaek predicted, Du Hwaseon aggressively demanded where she'd been last night. Du Hwaseon's spies had witnessed Cha Seon-chaek entering and leaving Gyeong Seong-gun's villa, suspecting an intimate relationship. Cha Seon-chaek's reaction confirmed Du Hwaseon's suspicion. Du Hwaseon viciously swore revenge before storming off. Cha Seon-chaek grew more frustrated. She was just a dutiful side character. Why did fate keep forcing her into the spotlight? Determined to escape becoming the protagonist, Cha Seon-chaek resolved to flee. But Gyeong Seong-gun had issued strict orders. No unmarried noblewoman could leave the city. Cha Seon-chaek disguised herself as a man to slip past the guards. Unexpectedly, Gyeong Seong-gun plastered her portrait across the city. If she attempted to leave forcibly, servants would pursue her relentlessly. Cha Seon-chaek nearly broke down, unaware Gyeong Seong-gun was observing her every move through binoculars. Watching Cha Seon-chaek scheming, a smile even surfaced on Gyeong Seong-gun's icy expression. But Cha Seon-chaek refused to yield. Prompted by a servant, she devised another plan. To become the type of woman Gyeong Seong-gun despised. Gyeong Seong-gun was fastidious and detested filth and foul odors. So Cha Seon-chaek plunged into muddy fields, deliberately transforming herself into a beggar. To her shock, Gyeong Seong-gun showed no disgust. Instead, he took her hand, praising her for aiding famine relief, calling her a model noblewoman. Still defiant, Cha Seon-chaek visited Gyeong Seong-gun's villa at night, presenting a falsified birth chart. She claimed their marriage would doom him to an early death. Yet Gyeong Seong-gun remained unmoved. Meeting his destined partner made a shortened life worthwhile. He even demanded she never remarry after his passing. He couldn't tolerate other men touching her, even in death. Cha Seon-chaek deployed her final gambit, shaving her head to become a Buddhist nun. Gyeongseong-gun countered ruthlessly, listing her worldly vices before the abbess: her love of alcohol and meat. Cha Seon-chaek hastily vowed to uphold monastic vows. Gyeongseong-gun struck harder, blurting out she'd already lost her virginity. Hearing this, the abbess chanted Amitabha and refused to accept her. Out of options, Cha Seon-chaek fled into the woods, only to encounter two lecherous bandits. Trapped and desperate, the novel's second male lead suddenly appeared, grabbing Cha Seon-chaek's hand and pulling her to safety. Gazing at his gentle features, Cha Seon-chaek rejoiced inwardly, convinced side characters should logically end up together. Young Soo-jeom, the second male lead, was a scholarly official in the royal library. He invited Cha Seon-chaek to his literary club, outwardly a star-gathering group, but secretly a drinking society. Charmed by this refined gentleman, Cha Seon-chaek succumbed to romantic fantasies and impulsively accepted. Suddenly, Gyeongseong-gun emerged from the shadows, commanding fiercely that she reject the invitation. Just then, Cha Seon-chaek's three brothers passed by. Ignoring all propriety, Gyeongseong-gun addressed them as future brothers-in-law. As he prepared to announce their engagement publicly, Cha Seon-chaek frantically intervened, deliberately collapsing into his arms in feigned faint. After Cha Seon-chaek awoke, her three elder brothers told her Gyeongseong-gun himself had carried Cha Seon-chaek back earlier. He even called for the royal physician for her. He insisted the royal physician prescribe the best medicine for Cha Seon-chaek. The royal physician complied, but one crucial medicinal herb was missing. To obtain this herb, Gyeongseong-gun and the royal physician went to the pharmacy. The owner of the pharmacy was a mischievous child. He immediately saw what Gyeongseong-gun needed. He deliberately teased Gyeongseong-gun. He demanded Gyeongseong-gun retrieve his medicine basket left at a mountain temple. Only then would he sell the herb. For Cha Seon-chaek, Gyeongseong-gun agreed to the child's request. He journeyed to the mountain overnight. He braved steep cliffs. He finally reached the temple and found the medicine basket. But then, a fierce tiger from the mountains heard him and approached. The tiger pounced on Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun fought the tiger desperately for his life. He slipped and fell near the cliff edge. Fortunately, the child from the pharmacy appeared and saved him just in time. Gyeongseong-gun gave the retrieved basket to the child. The child kept his promise. He gave the precious herb to Gyeongseong-gun. Cha Seon-chaek was troubled by Gyeongseong-gun's persistence. She knew deeply that the woman destined to marry Gyeongseong-gun should not be her. She refused to take another person's place. Once before, in the real world outside books, Cha Seon-chaek had a falling out with her close friend for this reason. One day, her close friend's boyfriend confessed his feelings to Cha Seon-chaek. Cha Seon-chaek rejected him immediately. Unexpectedly, her close friend misunderstood. She suspected Cha Seon-chaek was secretly seeing her boyfriend behind her back. In anger, she poured a bottle of drink over Cha Seon-chaek's head. The close friend's boyfriend was even more ruthless. He changed his story. He claimed Cha Seon-chaek had acted pitifully to seduce him. From then on, rumors spread at school that Cha Seon-chaek seduced her close friend's boyfriend. She endured classmates pointing fingers and gossip. When Cha Seon-chaek saw her close friend again, her friend looked coldly at her. She scolded Cha Seon-chaek for being shameless. After that, Cha Seon-chaek quietly left school. She poured all her focus into online novels. It was precisely because of that humiliating experience that Cha Seon-chaek vowed never to have anything to do with anyone who belonged to someone else. As she was thinking this, Gyeongseong-gun appeared and gave the herb to Cha Seon-chaek. Seeing Gyeongseong-gun covered in wounds, Cha Seon-chaek felt secretly distressed. She asked if he was hurt. Gyeongseong-gun only said he was fine. Then he unusually allowed Cha Seon-chaek to attend the literary gathering hosted by Young Soo-jeom. Cha Seon-chaek hesitated while looking at the precious herb. She wondered if she should accept something not meant for her. At that moment, a maid handed Cha Seon-chaek a letter. The letter was from the female-led Jo Yoon-ae. Jo Yoon-ae invited Cha Seon-chaek to taste newly made snacks from the merchant group. Cha Seon-chaek initially wanted to refuse harshly, but thinking of Jo Yoon-ae being alone softened her heart. Suddenly, Cha Seon-chaek thought of a brilliant plan. Cha Seon-chaek visited Young Soo-jeom. She asked if Jo Yoon-ae could join the literary gathering too. Young Soo-jeom immediately agreed. He informed Cha Seon-chaek that Gyeong Seong-gun would also attend tonight. Hearing this made Cha Seon-chaek even happier. Actually, Gyeong Seong-gun attending perfectly suited her intentions. Cha Seon-chaek took Jo Yoon-ai to the literary gathering and urged her to dress beautifully. Tonight she would restore the novel's plot to its original course. She would unite the true main couple. As Young Soo-jom arrived, the literary gathering officially began. Under Cha Seon-chaek's searching gaze, Gyeong Seong-gun made a dazzling entrance. Cha Seon-chaek was almost stunned. Before her stood Gyeong Seong-gun in gorgeous clothes, with sharp brows and starry eyes. His heroic aura couldn't be concealed at all. Suddenly Cha Seon-chaek's heart raced unexpectedly. Actually, before attending the gathering, Gyeong Seong-gun had specially asked someone to groom him. Cha Seon-chaek stumbled and fell into Young Soo-gyeom's arms. Young Soo-gyeom supported the beauty with his hands. Gyeong Seong-gun noticed this scene and felt jealousy. Young Soo-gyeom quickly released her and signaled everyone to begin the gathering. To matchmake Jo Yoon-ai and Gyeong Seong-gun, Cha Seon-chaek deliberately praised Jo Yoon-ai's skills. She called Jo Yoon-ai the finest noble lady of their time. Whenever Gyeong Seong-gun responded, Cha Seon-chaek would continuously flatter them. She declared that Jo Yoon-ai and Gyeong Seong-gun shared a deep connection. Seizing the lively atmosphere, Cha Seon-chaek prompted everyone to taste snacks made by Jo Yoon-ai herself. Everyone present praised the snacks enthusiastically. Only Gyeong Seong-gun refused to eat. Cha Seon-chaek saw this and directly picked up a dessert. She shoved it into Gyeong Seong-gun's mouth. Gyeong Seong-gun chewed it but offered no praise. Instead, he made sharp comments. Cha Seon-chaek didn't give up. She prompted Young Soo-gyeom to start the night's activity. Young Soo-gyeom had hidden slips with poetry lines in the house. Whoever found them first and completed the poem would get a gold ring. Gyeong Seong-gun didn't want to participate, but Young Soo-gyeom was blunt with his friend. If Gyeong Seong-gun refused to join, he would forcibly remove him as chairman of the literary gathering. While searching for the slips, Cha Seon-chaek walked with Jo Yoon-ai, but she deliberately lied to Jo Yoon-ai. She lured Jo Yoon-ai to the pond. By the pond, Jo Yoon-ai found no slip but met Gyeong Seong-gun. The moment they encountered each other, flower petals drifted down from the sky. This scene matched the novel's original meeting of the main couple. Of course, the petals didn't fall naturally now. Cha Seon-chaek had asked her maid to hide in a tree and scatter them. Cha Seon-chaek believed recreating this destined first meeting would make the main couple fall in love as intended. Unexpectedly, facing the romantic petals, Gyeong Seong-gun sneezed. He declared he was allergic to pollen. Before leaving, Gyeong Seong-gun mistakenly called Jo Yoon-ai Du Hwaseon. Jo Yoon-ai rarely got angry. She turned and walked away directly. Cha Seon-chaek had arranged for her maid to release mice. Startled, Jo Yoon-ai threw herself toward Gyeong Seong-gun's arms as expected, but Gyeong Seong-gun dodged perfectly. This caused Jo Yoon-ai to fall into the pond. Seeing Gyeong Seong-gun squat by the pond, Jo Yoon-ai instinctively reached her hand toward him. But Gyeong Seong-gun didn't save the beauty. He only retrieved his sword accidentally drawn by Jo Yoon-ai from the pond. Jo Yoon-ai apologized to Gyeong Seong-gun, but Gyeong Seong-gun showed no mercy to women. Instead, his eyes turned fierce. He pointed his sword at Jo Yoon-ai. This was his treasured sword. If it got damaged, he would not forgive Jo Yoon-ai. The literary gathering continued. Young Soo-gyeom raised his cup and recited poetry, but the atmosphere had turned icy due to Gyeong Seong-gun's earlier chaos. To ease the mood, Cha Seon-chaek repeated her trick. She mixed her specialty bomb cocktails for everyone on the spot. With fine liquor, the gathering's atmosphere revived. After one round of bomb cocktails, to match Gyeong Seong-gun and Jo Yoon-ai, Cha Seon-chaek brought modern table games into the novel's world. She had prepared many small wooden blocks with her maid in advance. Each block had a question written on it. Whoever drew a block must ask the question to the person on their right. If unable to answer, the punishment was drinking extremely strong liquor. As the bottle spun, Jo Yoon-ai became the first player to pick a block. Her question was, if your lover turned into a bug, would you kill them or let them live? Following game rules, Gyeong Seong-gun on her right had to answer. Gyeong Seong-gun looked at Cha Seon-chaek. Then he refused to answer. He stated firmly that even if he died, his lover could never become a bug. When Gyeong Seong-gun drew a block, The question was even more outrageous. It asked about the color of his undershirt. Cha Seon-chaek on his right needed to answer. But Gyeong Seong-gun changed the question arbitrarily. He asked Cha Seon-chaek when she last kissed someone. Everyone present blushed. But Cha Seon-chaek showed no embarrassment. She lied that as a noble lady, she had never kissed anyone. Gyeong Seong-gun ignored this. He nearly announced publicly that they spent a night together. Before Cha Seon-chaek could stop him, Gyeong Seong-gun took her hand. He declared their marriage on the spot. Amid everyone's shock, Jo Yoon-ae suddenly felt unwell. Cha Seon-chaek guessed. Jo Yoon-ae might be allergic to peach in the bomb cocktails. In the fluster, Cha Seon-chaek accidentally knocked over a candle holder. Flames ignited liquor spilled on the floor. The fire spread rapidly. This led to Gyeong Seong-gun saving the beauty next. After rescuing Cha Seon-chaek, Gyeong Seong-gun deeply felt he had madly fallen for the woman before him. To marry Cha Seon-chaek, Gyeong Seong-gun went to her residence that night. He proposed the marriage to her parents. Unexpectedly, Cha Seon-chaek's father harshly refused. The reason was her 3 older brothers remained unmarried. Cha Seon-chaek's father firmly told Gyeong Seong-gun he only wished his daughter to marry an ordinary family. He absolutely wouldn't betroth her to royalty entangled in political turmoil. Gyeong Seong-gun couldn't change his royal status yet, but he didn't give up easily. He secretly sought out Cha Seon-chaek's 3 brothers. Before his 3 future brothers-in-law, he drew his sword. He demanded they find marriage partners within 2 months. If they failed by then, he would make them pay. Gyeong Seong-gun gave his whole heart to Cha Seon-chaek. To him, Cha Seon-chaek was his life's antidote and redemption. In his youth, to help her son Gyeong Seong-gun rise, his mother tried to kill the previous king's son. But she was killed herself during the rebellion. To protect his family and himself, young Gyeong Seong-gun had to pledge loyalty to the king. He became the king's hunting dog. He lived licking blood from blades. After his father's death, Gyeong Seong-gun thought no one would ever know his inner pain. Until he met Cha Seon-chaek. Until Cha Seon-chaek spoke all the softness inside him. Then Gyeong Seong-gun decided Cha Seon-chaek was the woman he must marry. But Cha Seon-chaek felt like crying without tears. She deeply felt she had messed up the novel's original plot. She especially felt guilty toward the heroine Jo Eun-ae. Returning home, her maid brought herbal medicine. This medicine contained precious herbs Gyeong Seong-gun risked his life to find. While speaking, noise came from outside. Cha Seon-chaek opened the door and found Jung Soo-gyeom. Jung Soo-gyeom sat outside, speaking gently. Cha Seon-chaek's vanity flared up. Had even Jung Soo-gyeom, the second male lead, fallen for her? Unexpectedly, Jung Soo-gyeom blurted out. He confessed feelings for Jo Yoon-ae. Jung Soo-gyeom explained, since Jo Yoon-ae took drinks for him, he had fallen for this gentle yet strong woman. So Jung Soo-gyeom asked Cha Seon-chaek for help. He hoped she could match him with Jo Yoon-ae. Cha Seon-chaek remembered. In the original novel, Jung Soo-gyeom did briefly date Jo Yoon-ae. But ultimately, Jo Yoon-ae married Gyeong Seong-gun. Cha Seon-chaek hesitated. If she matched the second male lead with the heroine, wouldn't the main leads have no story? Therefore, Cha Seon-chaek only asked Jung Soo-gyeom for time. She needed to consult Jo Yoon-ae's feelings. Recently on the street, Cha Seon-chaek met a foreigner in distress. Seeing him hungry and exhausted, kind Cha Seon-chaek bought him a meal. She took him to a clothier shop for new clothes. Cha Seon-chaek then showed him around the streets. But she didn't know the foreigner had ill intentions. After Cha Seon-chaek left, he went to a mansion. There he met the villainous Du Hwa-seon. Unaware, Cha Seon-chaek walked down the road. Suddenly she felt weak and dizzy. She even coughed up blood. At night, Gyeong Seong-gun came to see Cha Seon-chaek. He found soldiers burning clothes at her gate. Her maid tearfully explained. The soldiers had just taken her lady away. They said she had caught the plague. Gyeong Seong-gun immediately raced his horse to the city gate. But guards forcibly stopped him. To see Cha Seon-chaek, Gyeong Seong-gun begged the guards humbly. Cha Seon-chaek was locked in a small hut. Horrifying visions flooded her mind. Overwhelmed with despair, She blamed herself for changing the novel's plot. She believed she would die alone in this empty place. Surrounded by fear, an urgent voice called near her ear. When Cha Seon-chaek awoke, she found Gyeong-seong-gun had come. Gyeong-seong-gun pulled her into his arms. He warned her not to die. Afterward, he stayed by her side tirelessly. He prepared herbal medicine diligently. He held her close. To win the hand of Gyeong-seong-gun, Du Hwaseon visited the Grand Consort at the palace. She sought the Grand Consort's help to marry Gyeong-seong-gun. The Grand Consort and Du Hwaseon were family relatives. Thus, the Grand Consort resolved to arrange this marriage. That same day, she approached the king. She proposed selecting a bride for Gyeong-seong-gun through 3 rounds of selection to choose his most suitable wife. Soon after, the palace posted a public notice. Women wishing to marry Gyeong-seong-gun must submit their names to the Ministry of Rites by a set date. Once the notice was displayed, all noble maidens in the capital flocked out, vying with each other to win Gyeong-seong-gun a match combining beauty and power. Among them were Du Hwaseon and Jo Yoonhae. Jo Yoonhae's wealthy merchant adoptive father insisted she join the selection, hoping to make her the future princess. Forced to obey her father, Jo Yoonhae complied. The child who guided Gyeong-seong-gun to find herbs the previous day was actually a ghost. The ghost possessed a shaman to matchmake Gyeong-seong-gun and Cha Seon-chaek. It used witchcraft to blow the notice before Cha Seon-chaek. Seeing the notice, Cha Seon-chaek realized only 1 hour remained before the deadline. Instinctively, Cha Seon-chaek rushed out. She had resolved to entrust her heart and fate entirely to Gyeong-seong-gun. However, when she rushed over, the city gate was about to close. In a moment of urgency, Cha Seon-chaek kicked out. Unexpectedly, her shoe hit the royal secretary in charge in the face. Amidst the chaos, Cha Seon-chaek leaped forward. She squeezed through the half-closed gate. Finally, she reached the royal secretary just before the deadline. Unexpectedly, the list she carried was missing. Cha Seon-chaek resolutely tore a piece from her skirt hem. She immediately wrote her own list on the torn skirt piece. Thus, she successfully enrolled. After enrolling, Cha Seon-chaek returned and told Gyeong-seong-gun about the day's events. Learning that Cha Seon-chaek had submitted the list, Gyeong-seong-gun was deeply surprised. He thought Cha Seon-chaek only wanted to escape him. Cha Seon-chaek told Gyeong-seong-gun about being misunderstood by her close friend in the past. She wasn't afraid of or disliked Gyeong-seong-gun. She was afraid of repeating the mistake. Gyeong-seong-gun, however, saw clearly that this was not Cha Seon-chaek's fault. Cha Seon-chaek hinted. Gyeong-seong-gun was the protagonist, destined to have a great love match. She herself was merely an insignificant supporting character. Little did she know, Gyeong-seong-gun said firmly, loving Cha Seon-chaek was his own choice. If he was the protagonist, then Cha Seon-chaek was the heroine he chose. Late at night, the two walked in the flower field. Cha Seon-chaek got startled and hid in Gyeong-seong-gun's arms. She tried to pull away, but Gyeong-seong-gun held her tightly. Gyeong-seong-gun's horse arrived at just the right moment. On horseback, Gyeong-seong-gun openly held Cha Seon-chaek's hand without concealment. To him, loving a woman was perfectly natural. There was no need to hide it. Meanwhile, at the residence, Cha Seon-chaek's family was praying for her safe return. Shortly after, Cha Seon-chaek returned to the residence, embraced by Gyeong-seong-gun. Learning that Gyeong-seong-gun had saved their daughter, her mother wanted to invite him inside. But Cha Seon-chaek's father quietly scolded her. Gyeong-seong-gun overheard and politely declined Cha Seon-chaek's mother. The next day, Gyeong-seong-gun went to see the Grand Royal Consort. He hoped she would immediately stop the consort selection. He confessed he had already found the woman he wished to marry. Unexpectedly, the Grand Royal Consort already knew all about it, but she stated that royal marriage was not about mere affection. She demanded Gyeong-seong-gun take back his words. Gyeong-seong-gun did not back down. He believed his woman would surely stand out in the selection process. The next day, Cha Seon-chaek bid farewell to her family and went to the palace for the consort selection. At that time, Cha Seon-chaek was full of confidence. She was an avid reader of historical romance novels. She could recite the consort selection steps blindfolded. As the gong sounded, the consort selection officially began. To Cha Sion, Cheek's surprise, the challenges were completely different from what she had read in novels. In truth, to make Cha Sion Cheek give up, these challenges were personally set by the Grand Royal Consort. The first challenge was a triple event physical contest. The participating young ladies had to throw a heavy cannonball over a white line not far away. Crossing the line meant passing. Du Huaxian threw first. She effortlessly threw the cannonball over the white line. But Cha Sion Cheik noticed what Du Huaxian threw was not a cannonball. It was an iron bowl shaped like a cannonball, but extremely light. Clearly, this was a fake contest with Du Huaxian as the predetermined winner. When it was Cha Sion Cheik's turn, she got an overweight cannonball. Cha Sion Cheik stayed calm and used scientific principles. She turned around and hurled it forcefully. She decisively made the cannonball land just outside the white line. Meanwhile, Gyeongseong Gun was watching Cha Sion Cheik through a telescope. Jung Soo Jeom took the telescope. He saw Jo Yoon-ae was also among the young ladies in the selection. This deeply troubled him. The consort selection moved to the second round. This time, archery was tested. Only hitting the bullseye allowed one to advance to the next round. Among them, Jo Yoon-ae shot and hit the target. When it was Du Huaxian's turn, Cha Sion Cheik discovered that the target opposite Du Huaxian subtly moved to match her. Through obvious cheating, Du Huaxian hit the target in one shot. When it was Cha Sion Cheik's turn, a strong wind suddenly arose. Fortunately, a spirit helped by secretly casting a spell on Cha Sion Cheik. This let her perfectly pierce the bullseye despite the strong wind. Cha Sion Cheik was ecstatic. The consort selection then entered the final round. This time, the participating young ladies had to deliver tea and snacks to the palace court ladies. Along the way, people kept accidentally dropping and breaking dishes, getting eliminated. Du Huaxian deliberately bumped into Cha Sion Cheik to cause trouble. Luckily, Cha Sion Cheik had experience working in a restaurant. She smoothly caught the tray about to fall. Finally, she reached the endpoint successfully, alongside Du Huaxian and Jo Yoon-ae. The final sole winner had not been selected yet. This meant the consort selection was not over. Cha Sion Cheik looked grave. Her heart was filled with guilt toward Jo Yoon-ae. Jo Yoon-ae was exceptionally sharp. She also saw Du Huaxian was the predetermined winner, but she didn't regret participating. Though Jo Yoon-ae's adoptive father was wealthy, he remained a lowly merchant, looked down upon. Joining the selection to change her class was her necessary mission. To Jo Yoon-ae, nothing in life was meant to be. All one could do was seize the present moment. Jo Yoon-ae's words jolted Cha Sion Cheik awake. She resolved to shed her guilt from then on. She would move steadfastly toward her goal. During Cha Sion Cheik's participation, Gyeongseong Gun was investigating her plague incident. Earlier, Gyeongseong Gun summoned a royal physician to examine her. The physician concluded it wasn't plague. Cha Sion Cheik recalled guiding a foreigner before falling ill. Gyeongseong Gun suspected this foreigner. After tailing him, he spotted a unique mark on the foreigner's back. Searching further, he discovered vials of pungent liquid on him. Soon after, the consort selection's second round began. This tested the participants' wisdom. The Grand Royal Consort gave each 10 yang of copper coins. 2 days later, they must show how much they multiplied the sum. Cha Sion Cheik was deeply troubled. She lacked Jo Yoon-ae's merchant guild experience. Nor had she studied finance in the modern world. She had no idea what to do. Later, Cha Sion Cheik spotted Gyeongseong Gun on the street. She happily waved at him, but Gyeongseong Gun hurried away as if he didn't see her. Around the corner, Gyeongseong Gun encountered Du Huaxian. They collided, splashing dirty water onto his clothes. Gyeongseong Gun used this as an excuse to visit Du Huaxian's home. Du Huaxian already treated him as her future husband. Unbeknownst to her, while she fetched water, Gyeongseong Gun secretly searched her residence. Earlier, Gyeongseong Gun arrested the foreigner who contacted Cha Sion Cheik. He ruthlessly interrogated him to name the mastermind. The foreigner refused to talk. But subordinates found the foreigner disembarked from Do Sion's family ship. To find evidence, Gyeongseong-gun personally approached Duhua Sion. In Dohwa Sion's home, he found medicine bottles identical to the foreigner's H-press. Hearing Duhwa Sion approach, Gyeongseong-gun loosened his clothes to mask his true intent. Duhwa Sion was indeed captivated by his charm. She missed his real motive completely. After changing clothes, Gyeongseong-gun feigned interest in foreign objects. Duhwa Sion led him to her family treasury. It was filled with exotic treasures from various countries. He noticed the medicine symbol etched on many treasures. Gyeongseong-gun confirmed the link between Dohwa Sion's family and the foreigner. As he prepared to leave, Duhwa Sion complained. She accused Cha Seon-chaek of misconduct for close association with a foreigner. She claimed they planned to elope overseas together. Back at his residence, Gyeongseong-gun immediately removed the clothes worn at Dohwa Sion's. More than confirming the foreign connection, he fixated on Duhwa Sion's slander against Cha Seon-chaek. Though knowing it was false, he couldn't stop imagining Cha Seon-chaek eloping overseas with the foreigner. A servant noticed Gyeongseong-gun's agitation. He realized Cha Seon-chaek had changed him into a flesh-and-blood person with emotions. The servant's words reminded Gyeongseong-gun of their first night. That night, Gyeongseong-gun willingly gave her his precious first time. Since that night, all his nights became different. Now, to protect Cha Seon-chaek, Gyeongseong-gun must investigate secretly and endure longing without her knowledge. That's why he couldn't meet her even hearing her call. The 2 days arrived. The participants presented their solutions to the Grand Royal Consort. Duhwa Sion flattered her, saying she melted the 10 yang of silver. She forged it into a ring to pass down through generations. This would commemorate the Grand Royal Consort's challenge. When it was Jo Yoon-ae's turn, she used the 10 yang to buy food and brushes for orphans. She believed these orphans could become future talents for the nation. Only such talents could ensure the homeland's security and prosperity. Finally, it was Cha Seon-chaek's turn. Cha Seon-chaek used the 10 yang to rent unused farmland. She raised catfish and loaches there. They are natural enemies. Placing natural enemies together would stimulate their survival instincts. This would make them breed with all their might. Cha Seon-chaek then sold the large quantity of bred catfish and loaches. She earned a significant sum quickly. Soon, the second selection results were announced. All 3 passed, and Cha Seon-chaek scored the highest. Cha Seon-chaek was ecstatic. In truth, the idea of raising catfish and loaches together came from her university professor. After passing the second screening, Cha Seon-chaek rushed to Gyeongseong-gun's residence. But a servant told her he had retired early. Failing to see Gyeongseong-gun, Cha Seon-chaek felt gloomy. A maid revealed she saw Gyeongseong-gun locking arms with Duhwa Sion entering the mansion. Thinking of how hurriedly he walked yesterday, jealousy stirred within her. She ordered the maid to tell Gyeongseong-gun's attendant now. She would visit him early the next morning. Young Soo-jeom was also troubled by love. That evening, he went to Jo Yoon-ae's home to confess his feelings. Jo Yoon-ae, intelligent, discerned his purpose. While alone, she pulled him to the backyard. Previously, Jo Yoon-ae drank Young Soo-jeom's penalty drink at a banquet. Young Soo-jeom had promised to grant her one wish later. Jo Yoon-ae now demanded he honor his promise. She wished him to keep his distance for a while. She must follow her father's will and successfully complete the selection. Seeing Jung Soo-jeom's dejected look, Jo Yoon-ae gently held his sleeve. She hinted she was not unaware of his feelings. She only hoped he would wait for her. The next day, Cha Seon-chaek visited Gyeongseong-gun's residence again. But the servant informed her he had gone out. Cha Seon-chaek angrily thought Gyeongseong-gun was avoiding her after winning her heart. Just then, a maid rushed in. She notified Cha Seon-chaek. The final selection round was moved to today. The final consort selection arrived. The Grand Royal Consort posed this question. If one's husband faces trials, what virtues should a wife uphold? Duhwa Sion answered she should enforce discipline at the forefront. Jo Yoon-ae stated all trials bring lessons. Therefore, one should endure them quietly. Cha Seon-chaek's answer shocked everyone. When forced into trials, women must preserve physical strength and finances. They should monitor economic trends. Especially, they must save private funds. This won unanimous praise from the judging concubines. But the Grand Royal Consort deliberately found fault. She accused Cha Seon-chaek of dressing too extravagantly during crop failure. Du Hwaseon seized the chance to mock. She claimed Cha Seon-chaek always wore expensive silk. She accused her of intimacy with a foreigner on the street. She even brought a silk shop owner as witness. Clearly bribed, the shop owner backed Du Hwaseon's claims. He falsely testified Cha Seon-chaek committed shameless acts with the foreigner. The Grand Royal Consort used this to disqualify Cha Seon-chaek. As Du Hwaseon gloated, Gyeong Seong-gun suddenly burst in. He brought that foreigner and the medicine found on him. The potion could instantly wither potted plants. Gyeong Seong-gun had uncovered. The foreigner poisoned Cha Seon-chaek's food with it that day, making her appear plague-stricken. Gyeong Seong-gun whispered to the Grand Royal Consort. Du Hwaseon ordered the foreigner's actions, and Du Hwaseon was her favorite relative. If exposed, the Grand Royal Consort would face consequences. Understanding the situation, she pretended to faint. Afterwards, the king halted the consort selection. Cha Seon-chaek sighed in relief. Now she knew Gyeong Seong-gun avoided her to investigate the foreigner. Seeing Cha Seon-chaek jealous over Du Hwaseon, Gyeong Seong-gun stepped forward and kissed her. His heart held only Cha Seon-chaek. Just then, the king summoned Gyeong Seong-gun. Cha Seon-chaek promised to wait for him by the river. But night fell with no sign of him. As she complained, someone pushed her into the river. Sinking deeper, Cha Seon-chaek feared her destiny with Gyeong Seong-gun ended here. Suddenly, Gyeong Seong-gun plunged into the water. He reached Cha Seon-chaek and performed rescue breathing. Yesterday, the king summoned Gyeong Seong-gun and ordered him to postpone the wedding. Gyeong Seong-gun defied the royal command for the first time. His marriage would be decided by himself. While waiting for Gyeong Seong-gun, Cha Seon-chaek was pushed into the pond. After spotting Cha Seon-chaek's shoe floating on the water, Gyeong Seong-gun rushed into the pond and rescued her. Gyeong Seong-gun blamed himself for leaving Cha Seon-chaek alone. Cha Seon-chaek stroked Gyeong Seong-gun's cheek. When falling into the water, she thought only of Gyeong Seong-gun. She feared she would never see him again. Facing Cha Seon-chaek's first confession, a tear slid from the corner of Gyeong Seong-gun's eye. He finally waited for the day the woman he loved opened her heart. Cha Seon-chaek boldly kissed Gyeong Seong-gun. She would respond with a whole night of passion. Early the next morning, Cha Seon-chaek tried to rise, but was gently held back by Gyeong Seong-gun repeatedly. While play fighting, their stomachs growled. Cha Seon-chaek declared she would cook today. Cha Seon-chaek showcased her skills by preparing breakfast. Gyeong Seong-gun tasted it. The flavor was truly bad. But to please Cha Seon-chaek, he still lied and called it delicious. Cha Seon-chaek happily promised after marriage she would make breakfast for him daily. Gyeong Seong-gun envisioned the future scene. He imagined Cha Seon-chaek calling him husband. While beaming at him, even tasteless food would be delicious to him. After Gyeong Seong-gun finished breakfast, a maid came urging her to return home. Cha Seon-chaek hurried back. Her father scolded her for staying out overnight. To her father, Gyeong Seong-gun's residence was the most dangerous place. But Cha Seon-chaek didn't continue apologizing. Instead, she begged her father to let her marry Gyeong Seong-gun. Her father grew even angrier. Unexpectedly, Gyeong Seong-gun came to propose again. Her father still objected. He denounced Gyeong Seong-gun as the thief who stole his daughter. Conversely, Cha Seon-chaek's mother supported the marriage. She called Gyeong Seong-gun her future son-in-law. Gyeong Seong-gun went further. If he could marry Cha Seon-chaek, he would willingly become a live-in son-in-law. Her three brothers panicked. If Gyeong Seong-gun lived there as a resident son-in-law, they three would surely become his servants, ordered about daily. The three brothers meekly voiced opposition. They didn't want a resident brother-in-law. They should let Cha Seon-chaek marry him quickly. These useless sons all sided with an outsider. Their father nearly became ill from rage. Cha Seon-chaek caught a chill. She concluded, Du Hwaseon must have pushed her into the water last night. She resolved to confront her. The next day, Cha Seon-chaek visited Du Hua-seon demanding an apology. Cha Seon-chaek noticed scars on Du Hua-seon's wrist. When falling into the water last night, she had scratched her attacker's wrist with her nails. Therefore, Cha Seon-chaek became even more certain it was Du Hua-seon last night. She warned Du Hua-seon not to act recklessly anymore. After the selection was cancelled, Jo Yoon-ae faced her father's coldness. Her father lamented that although he bought aristocratic status, he could never change their destined fate. Jo Yoon-ae felt disheartened. Recalling when the selection was cancelled, she remembered Gyeong Seong-gun gently embracing Cha Seon-chaek. Thinking of this, Jo Yoon-ae's gentle gaze turned cold. But for Jung Soo-jeom, the cancelled selection brought great joy. Jung Soo-jeom came to see Jo Yoon-ae. Jo Yoon-ae was visiting orphans. She brought food and played with the children. Jung Soo-jeom promised to help orphans with Jo Yoon-ae in the future. Jo Yoon-ae stated Jung Soo-jeom would surely become a good father someday. Jung Soo-jeom felt shy yet delighted, anticipating more about their future. While they talked and laughed, Jung Soo-jeom spotted his father passing and hurriedly hid. But his father still noticed him. His father sternly scolded Jung Soo-jeom. He deemed Jo Yoon-ae lowborn and forbade his son from associating with her. After waiting a long time with no return from Jung Soo-jeom, disappointment surfaced in Jo Yoon-ae's eyes. Cha Seon-chaek walked down the street and passed a man. The man softly called Cha Seon-chaek's name. Cha Seon-chaek did not recognize him. The man introduced himself as Lee Ji-woo. He and Cha Seon-chaek had not met for 10 years. Cha Seon-chaek pretended to remember. Then Lee Ji-woo claimed they had an engagement since childhood. Shortly after that man left, Cha Seon-chaek suddenly noticed all pedestrians had vanished from the street. Her maid explained someone had rented the entire street. While Cha Seon-chaek wondered, Gyeong Seong-gun approached from the opposite direction. The person who rented the whole street was Gyeong Seong-gun. He did this to have a private date with Cha Seon-chaek. On the empty street, Gyeong Seong-gun took Cha Seon-chaek's hand. They cast aside everything outside. They fully savored this ordinary happiness. Gyeong Seong-gun spontaneously taught children nearby a game. He loved children and dreamed of a big lively family. He mentioned having children with Cha Seon-chaek. He wanted at least 10 children with her in the future. He would buy all their clothes at once. Cha Seon-chaek shyly ran away. To surprise his beloved, Gyeong Seong-gun excused himself. During his absence, Cha Seon-chaek encountered 3 men. The men called her the bomb shot lady. Her making bomb shots at the tea house that day had already spread widely. The men asked her to make the drink for them. Cha Seon-chaek declined politely. The men persisted. Then, Lee Ji-woo appeared and spoke up for Cha Seon-chaek. The men were royal relatives and recognized Lee Ji-woo. They mocked Lee Ji-woo and pushed him to the ground. Cha Seon-chaek scolded them for ganging up on one. The men seemed to see someone. After exchanging glances, they left nervously. Cha Seon-chaek brushed dust off Lee Gyu's clothes. At that moment, Gyeong Seong-gun appeared. He held flowers carefully prepared for Cha Seon-chaek. But upon seeing Lee Ji-woo, Gyeong Seong-gun's gaze turned icy. Lee Ji-woo also shot him a hostile look. Lee Ji-woo was the king's other nephew, and Gyeong Seong-gun's cousin. Yet before his cousin, Gyeong Seong-gun deliberately showed affection to Cha Seon-chaek. He called Cha Seon-chaek his fiancé. He warned Lee Ji-woo not to address his fiancé directly. Likewise, Lee Ji-woo spoke coldly to Gyeong Seong-gun. Facing each other, they showed no brotherly warmth. Cha Seon-chaek curiously asked about Gyeong Seong-gun and Lee Gyu's relationship, but Gyeong Seong-gun refused to explain. He only gave Cha Seon-chaek the flowers he carefully prepared today. Cha Seon-chaek also gave Gyeong Seong-gun the fate bracelet she bought the other day. She already anticipated marrying Gyeong Seong-gun someday. Gyeong Seong-gun pinned Cha Seon-chaek against the wall. He wanted to kiss her. But Cha Seon-chaek's father suddenly shouted and stopped the lovers. Lee Ji-woo could not forget Cha Seon-chaek. They were once childhood friends. Lee Ji-woo had kissed Cha Seon-chaek's cheek and promised to marry her someday. Recalling this now, his eyes turned fierce. He believed Gyeongseong-gun was unworthy of Cha Seon-chaek. Cha Seon-chaek was confined at home by her father. Her father was truly angry this time. He forbade anyone from opening her door. Gyeongseong-gun waited desperately outside her house. He tried every way to sneak in to see Cha Seon-chaek. But Cha Seon-chaek's father and 3 brothers were fully prepared. If Gyeongseong-gun sneaked in, all 4 would unite against him. In short, they left no opportunity for Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun deliberately waited on the street for her 3 brothers. He wanted to talk with them over drinks. During the meal, he poured them wine. He asked if there was any way to change their father's mind. Hearing this, the 3 brothers slowly put down their cups. They put on airs of uncompromising manliness. They refused to give Gyeongseong-gun information. Seeing this, Gyeongseong-gun opened a box. He gave each brother a gift. Receiving gifts, they immediately beamed with joy. They called Gyeongseong-gun their brother-in-law. They revealed their father's fondness for alcohol. Gyeongseong-gun immediately visited their home. He brought a jar of 30-year wild ginseng wine. But her father was too knowledgeable. After one taste, he knew the ginseng variety was wrong and refused Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun remained determined. He knelt outside Cha Seon-chaek's house in the snowstorm. He would not leave until her father accepted him. Seeing this, her father finally softened his heart and let Gyeongseong-gun inside. After this trial, her father was convinced of Gyeongseong-gun's feelings for his daughter. But because his hands were stained with blood for years, her father worried his daughter would suffer misfortune from her husband's blood debt if she married. After consideration, he permitted them to date. But he required Gyeongseong-gun to agree to 3 rules, especially forbidding them from spending nights alone together outside. He demanded Gyeongseong-gun protect Cha Seon-chaek completely. After Gyeongseong-gun agreed to everything, her father lifted his daughter's confinement. Her mother went to tell Cha Seon-chaek the good news, but she found her daughter had already slipped out. Cha Seon-chaek visited a shaman woman to divine her fate. The shaman gave her a talisman. It was said hiding this talisman in a man's bedding would remove all obstacles to marriage. Just as Cha Seon-chaek rejoiced, the shaman was possessed by a child ghost again. The child ghost instantly saw that the Cha Seon-chaek before her was false. It declared Cha Seon-chaek faced a crucial choice and must choose carefully. Cha Seon-chaek didn't understand its meaning, but she faintly sensed hidden meaning in the shaman's words. Cha Seon-chaek saw Gyeongseong-gun and threw herself into his arms. Her eyes held a flirtatious hint, but Gyeongseong-gun firmly pushed Cha Seon-chaek away. To honor the 3 rules with her father, he couldn't be too unrestrained before marriage. Cha Seon-chaek kept closing in on Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun couldn't restrain himself. He held her waist to kiss her. But just before Cha Seon-chaek succumbed, he carried her outside. He shut the door tightly behind her. At night, her eldest brother visited Cha Seon-chaek. He told her about Lee Ji-woo. Years ago, during the royal succession struggle, a bloody war broke out among royals. At that time, both Gyeongseong-gun and Lee Ji-woo lost their parents, but they chose opposing factions. Gyeongseong-gun chose to support the king. Conversely, the traitor Lee Ji-woo was banished. Thus they became sworn enemies. To solidify the throne, the king planned to exploit the relationship between Gyeongseong-gun and Lee Ji-woo. He arranged a polo tournament at the palace. The 2 polo teams were led by Gyeongseong-gun and Lee Ji-woo. Seeing each other, enemies burned with hatred. During the match, Lee Ji-woo saw he couldn't defeat Gyeongseong-gun. He signaled teammates with his eyes. He told them to flank and trap Gyeongseong-gun. Lee Ji-woo would seize the chance to strike the ball. Lee Ji-woo cheated blatantly, but the king didn't intervene, letting them tear at each other. In the final round, Lee Ji-woo deliberately threw the ball high. Gyeongseong-gun tried to intercept it, but he accidentally flung his polo mallet. It landed behind the king's throne. Gyeongseong-gun rushed to kneel and beg forgiveness. Lee Ji-woo secretly gloated. The king ordered the match stopped for the day. After the crowd dispersed, Lee Ji-woo approached and sneered. He accused Gyeongseong-gun of blood-stained hands, yet seeking happiness. He vowed everyone around Gyeongseong-gun would suffer misfortune. On the street, the 3 men who bullied Lee Ji-woo days earlier passed by. Within just days, they were covered in wounds like hunted rats. Gyeongseong-gun ordered servants to watch Lee Ji-woo closely. He demanded immediate reports of any suspicious acts. A servant brought a small box. Inside were 2 matching rings made from his mother's ring. Despite obstacles, Gyeongseong-gun was determined to marry Cha Seon-chik. Young Soo-jom also couldn't forget Jo Yoon-ae. He gave her chrysanthemums. He hoped she'd forgive him for leaving abruptly that day. Jo Yoon-ae didn't blame Young Soo-jom. She believed everyone had unspeakable hardships. Deeply moved by her understanding nature, he asked her for rice soup again. Jo Yoon-ae agreed. Young Soo-jom felt surrounded by happiness. He planned to see his beloved again while returning her handkerchief. But this time, Young Soo-jom unexpectedly discovered Jo Yoon-ae secretly visiting a house. She met a masked man there. She gave him money. That day, Cha Seon-chik received Gyeongseong-gun's letter inviting her to their first meeting spot by the stream. Cha Seon-chik was thrilled. At the stream, she recalled how their fate began. But suddenly, someone ambushed and drugged her from behind. Gyeongseong-gun was en route to meet her. He passed a palanquin on the road. He didn't know it carried the drugged Cha Seon-chik. Arriving at the stream, he found her missing but discovered her dropped fate bracelet. He realized she must be in danger. Meanwhile, Cha Seon-chik was bound inside a small hut. Her kidnapper declared this place her burial ground. Last night, Cha Seon-chik disappeared without reason. To find Cha Seon-chik, Gyeongseong-gun used soldiers without official permission. But Cha Seon-chik's whereabouts remained unknown. Cha Seon-chik was held captive by a mysterious killer in a small hut. The killer intended to silence her. To save her life, Cha Seon-chik stalled the killer. While talking, Cha Seon-chik stealthily loosened the ropes binding her hands. Then she escaped while the killer was unprepared. A large drum stood outside a wooden shack nearby. Cha Seon-chik beat the drum for help. But the sound attracted the killer. The killer launched a deadly attack on Cha Seon-chik. Fortunately, Gyeongseong-gun arrived at the critical moment. He witnessed Cha Seon-chik get injured. Gyeongseong-gun was furious. He wanted to kill the killer who hurt his beloved. Thankfully, Cha Seon-chik stopped him in time. Gyeongseong-gun hastily withdrew. He urgently carried the unconscious Cha Seon-chik back to his residence. While Cha Seon-chik rested, Cha Seon-chik's father invited Gyeongseong-gun to stay. He hoped Gyeongseong-gun would share a drink with him. Gyeongseong-gun felt ill at ease. He didn't know what Cha Seon-chik's father meant. The father poured wine for Gyeongseong-gun. He thanked him for rescuing his daughter that night. He declared that if Gyeongseong-gun could outdrink him that night, he would consent to their marriage. Seeing Gyeongseong-gun still on pins and needles, Cha Seon-chik's father wore a relaxed smile. He knew he couldn't outperform Gyeongseong-gun. The drinking contest was merely an excuse to lose intentionally. The father spoke solemnly. He entrusted his beloved daughter to Gyeongseong-gun. He believed Gyeongseong-gun could protect Cha Seon-chik, as he did that night. Although he finally gained Cha Seon-chik's father's support, the fear in Gyeongseong-gun's heart did not fade. Thinking of his numerous enemies formed in the past, and recalling the crisis Cha Seon-chik faced last night, Gyeongseong-gun grew increasingly uneasy. Early the next morning, Gyeongseong-gun rushed back home only to see Cha Seon-chik vomiting blood. Suddenly, Gyeongseong-gun woke up startled. He realized this scene was just a nightmare. Cha Seon-chik had awakened. Gyeongseong-gun urgently pulled Cha Seon-chik into his embrace. He feared misfortune caused by him would eventually transfer to Cha Seon-chik. Thinking loving Cha Seon-chik was selfish of him, Cha Seon-chik gently comforted Gyeongseong-gun. Loving someone meant sharing their fortune and misfortune. If misfortune could spread, she believed her luck could also reach Gyeongseong-gun. Yet alone, Cha Seon-chik looked uneasy. Last night she witnessed Gyeongseong-gun's murderous intent. Cha Seon-chik was actually afraid inside. She was determined never to let Gyeongseong-gun shed blood again. News of Cha Seon-chik's kidnapping spread quickly. Everyone on the streets buzzed with gossip. All believed Du Hwa-seon orchestrated the kidnapping. Even Du Hwa-seon's father suspected her. He ordered his daughter to temporarily seek refuge at a temple. Du Hwa-seon felt deeply wronged, insisting it wasn't her doing. Her father refused to believe her. He decided not to indulge his daughter blindly anymore. Gyeong Seong-gun interrogated last night's killer. He wanted to uncover the mastermind, but the killer remained silent, seeming willing to risk his life to protect someone. Gyeong Seong-gun planned to use the forged letter Cha Seon-chek received as a clue. The letter, in his name, invited her to their first meeting spot by the stream. The handwriting mimicked Gyeong Seong-gun's remarkably well. Gyeong Seong-gun noticed the paper used was extremely rare. To find leads, Gyeong Seong-gun went to the paper mill. The mill worker revealed the Jo family merchant group had bought all that paper recently. Jung Soo-gyeom also suspected the Jo family's adopted daughter, Jo A.A. Jung Soo-gyeom visited Jo Eun-ai. He deliberately mentioned Cha Seon-chek's ordeal last night. Jo Eun-ai sounded tense. She claimed she was so worried after hearing the news she couldn't sleep. Hearing the culprit was caught, Jo Eun-ai seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. She appeared genuinely concerned for Cha Seon-chek. Looking at her gentle face, Jung Soo-gyeom felt relieved. He shouldn't have doubted Jo Eun-ai. Yet moments later, in the room where Jo Eun-ai worked, Jung Soo-gyeom discovered some papers with writing. Later, Jo Eun-ai visited Cha Seon-chek's residence alone with tea snacks. She expressed concern for Cha Seon-chek. She promised to protect her with all her strength in the future. Yet Cha Seon-chek noticed Jo Eun-ai seemed subtly changed. For instance, her eyes turned sharp as she ordered the maid to brew tea. Cha Seon-chek vaguely sensed hidden intentions behind Jo Eun-ai's nervousness. That night, the prison cell door suddenly opened. Seeing no one around, the killer quietly escaped. Under the cover of darkness, the killer met his master Jo Eun-ai. It turned out, the killer was a servant once helped by Jo Eun-ai. This time, he willingly risked his life for her. Noticing the killer's severe injuries, Jo Eun-ai spoke with concern. She told him to hide for a while, but as she turned away, Jo Eun-ai's eyes suddenly changed and she stabbed him. The present Jo Eun-ai was no longer the gentle heroine from the original novel. Through hard work, she rose from an orphan to her current position. Yet she still faced criticism. She genuinely wanted to befriend Cha Seon-chek, but failed to break free from class barriers. Cha Seon-chek was a noble family's daughter, while she was merely a low-status merchant's daughter. That night, Jo Eun-ai pushed Cha Seon-chek into the pond. To defy fate, she had to eliminate Cha Seon-chek. She had to remove all obstacles in her path. After killing the servant, Jo Eun-ai pushed the door open to leave. Unexpectedly, she ran into Lee Ji-woo at the entrance. Lee Ji-woo already knew Jo Eun-ai's intentions. He hinted they were alike and should join forces. Lee Ji-woo harbored hatred for Gyeong Seong-gun. Years ago, during a political upheaval, Gyeong Seong-gun, who sided with the king, survived. Young Lee Ji-woo was exiled instead. On the day of exile, Lee Ji-woo and Cha Seon-chek locked eyes from afar. Even then, he knew he would lose Cha Seon-chek forever. But now their situations seemed reversed. Lee Ji-woo bowed to the king. He vowed to become a stepping stone for the king's ambitions. At the palace that day, regarding Cha Seon-chek's kidnapping, the king scolded Gyeong Seong-gun for using soldiers without permission to save his fiancée. As punishment, he ordered Gyeong Seong-gun to continue killing to prove his loyalty. Reluctantly, Gyeong Seong-gun went to the residence of the late king's prime minister as listed in the death register. With cold eyes, he swung his blade. Meanwhile, Cha Seon-chek's mother asked her to pray at a temple for marital bliss. Cha Seon-chek arrived to find Lee Ji-woo standing dazed in the rain. Lee Ji-woo explained he was there to honor his parents. In Cha Seon-chek's presence, Lee Ji-woo rarely showed relaxed emotions. He even lay his head on her lap and fell asleep. Later, he brought a stray cute puppy. He asked Cha Seon-chek to help name the dog. After they left the temple, they discovered that day's killer had been murdered. Lee Ji-woo comforted the frightened Cha Seon-chek. Gyeong Seong-gun witnessed this scene. Jealous, he pulled the startled Cha Seon-chek into his arms. Lee Ji-woo deliberately provoked him, hinting Gyeong Seong-gun had killed the killer. Even Cha Seon-chek began doubting Gyeong Seong-gun. Back home, Gyeong Seong-gun urged Cha Seon-chek to avoid Lee Ji-woo from now on. But Cha Seon-chek bluntly stated, She wished Gyeongseong-gun would stop killing. These words hurt Gyeongseong-gun. He complained that Cha Seon-chaek didn't trust him. Cha Seon-chaek felt deeply troubled. She blamed herself for saying such hurtful things to Gyeongseong-gun. Du Hwaseon, unwilling to submit, secretly slipped out of the temple. She saw her father passing by and hurriedly hid aside. Suddenly, a voice ordered her not to block the way. Du Hwaseon turned to see Jo Yune. Jo Yune shed her gentle disguise, revealing her vicious true nature. She sneered, disgusted by Du Hwaseon's plain clothes, calling her filthy. Several noble ladies approached. Jo Yune quickly pretended to be pitiful, claiming Du Hwaseon found her bothersome. She urged the ladies not to quarrel with Du Hwaseon over her. The ladies sided entirely with Jo Yune. They also believed Du Hwaseon was the kidnapping mastermind. Du Hwaseon, furious, vowed to find the real culprit herself. Jo Yune returned home to find Jung Soo-jeom waiting. Jung Soo-jeom directly presented the paper discovered in Jo Eun-a's room yesterday. It was the letter forging Gyeongseong-gun's name, inviting Cha Seon-chaek to the stream. Cornered, Jo Yune offered no defense. Instead, she admitted to instigating the kidnapping. Jung Soo-jeom couldn't understand why she committed such evil. Jo Yune replied that someone noble like him, who has had everything since childhood, could never grasp her feelings. Jung Soo-jeom pleaded with Jo Eun-ae to confess the truth to Gyeongseong-gun. Jo Eun-ae only laughed wildly. It turned out, Jo Eun-ae knew Jung Soo-jeom's father was a member of the Black Scholars Group. The Black Scholars Group was a secret organization founded to overthrow the king and install a new monarch. It was also the group Gyeongseong-gun had long fought against to support the king. The king summoned Gyeongseong-gun to the palace. He accused him of harboring ill intent. It turned out, Gyeongseong-gun hadn't killed the late king's prime minister. He had spared his life. Many ministers switched sides. They declared Gyeongseong-gun's act rebellious and demanded severe punishment. Only Cha Seon-chaek's father spoke in Gyeongseong-gun's defense. After consideration, the king decided to give Gyeongseong-gun one last chance. He ordered him to kill the prime minister before all officials at court. Gyeongseong-gun picked up his sword but hesitated. Remembering Cha Seon-chaek's plea to stop killing, he couldn't strike. Unexpectedly, Lee Ji-woo attacked from behind. He killed the prime minister on the spot. The king was pleased and shifted his reliance to Lee Ji-woo. He also stripped Gyeongseong-gun of his official position. With Gyeongseong-gun losing power, many sought new alliances. Among them was Jung Soo-jeom's father. He ordered Jung Soo-jeom to cut ties with Gyeongseong-gun. Jung Soo-jeom asked if Lee Ji-woo was the mastermind behind the Black Scholars Group. His father didn't deny it, admitting the palace would change hands. To achieve this, Gyeongseong-gun must be eliminated. That night, Jung Soo-jeom told Gyeongseong-gun Jo Eun-ae orchestrated the kidnapping. Gyeongseong-gun immediately confronted Jo Eun-ae with his sword, demanding accomplices. Jo Eun-ae laughed coldly. She knew people well. She understood Cha Seon-chaek opposed Gyeongseong-gun killing, especially since he would kill Cha Seon-chaek's close friend. Hearing this, Gyeongseong-gun hesitated. He only tied Jo Eun-ae up in the end. He threatened to send her to Uijeonbu if she refused to name accomplices. Walking on the street, Gyeongseong-gun had eggs thrown at him by the killer's wife. She mistakenly blamed him for her husband's death. She screamed, calling him a murderer. Gyeongseong-gun silently endured the false accusation. Just then, Cha Seon-chaek ran over. She shielded Gyeongseong-gun without hesitation. Cha Seon-chaek learned from her father about Gyeongseong-gun's dismissal. Realizing she misjudged him, she apologized. Gyeongseong-gun bore no grudge. Cha Seon-chaek was the first to stand up for him. After reconciling, Gyeongseong-gun confessed a dark secret buried deep in his heart. When the king ascended the throne, he brutally killed Lee Gyu's parents. They were also his own uncle and aunt. But to protect his family, he betrayed his friend. He had to join the king's side. Cha Seon-chaek gently touched Gyeongseong-gun's face. She knew how hard he tried to escape his dark past. She promised to stay by his side. The next day, ministers collectively pleaded with the king to sentence Gyeongseong-gun to death. Cha Seon-chaek knew Only Lee Ji-woo could save Gyeongseong-gun now. To protect her beloved, Cha Seon-chaek knelt before Lee Ji-woo. She begged him to spare Gyeongseong-gun's life. Lee Ji-woo remained cold and refused. But Cha Seon-chaek declared she would do anything if he helped. Hearing this, reluctantly, he agreed to Cha Seon-chaek's plea. He advised the king to send Gyeongseong-gun to the frontier to suppress barbarian tribes. This would let Gyeongseong-gun atone and gain the king recognition from powerful nations. While the king deliberated, Young-soo-jeom arrived at the palace, joining the plea for execution. But Gyeongseong-gun already understood Young-soo-jeom's helplessness. The previous night, Young-soo-jeom had knelt before Gyeongseong-gun. He confessed his father's membership in the Black Scholars group. To protect his father, he had to betray his friend. Gyeongseong-gun didn't blame him, knowing it wasn't Young-soo-jeom's fault. Thus, in the palace now, Gyeongseong-gun and Young-soo-jeom locked eyes from afar. Though forced into opposing sides, neither held resentment. The king summoned Gyeongseong-gun. He decided to follow Lee Gyu's plan and send him to the frontier. He ordered him to depart before dawn tomorrow. Cha Seon-chaek's family waited for Gyeongseong-gun outside the palace. They sadly learned the news of his imminent deployment. The Black Scholars group held a secret meeting. Members Jung-soo, Guillaume's father, and Jo Yoon-a's father confronted leader Lee Ji-woo. They questioned why he spared Gyeongseong-gun. Lee Ji-woo laughed coldly. He would ensure Gyeongseong-gun never returned alive from the battlefield. That night, Cha Seon-chaek visited Gyeongseong-gun. She had set candles outside his residence. Holding flowers, they walked together past the candles. Tonight, she would marry Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun worried he might not return from war. Cha Seon-chaek forbade such ominous talk. She placed a lifelong commitment ring on her beloved's finger. Gyeongseong-gun also gave her a wedding ring. He promised her future happiness. They kissed before the candles, hoping to reunite after tomorrow. The next day, Cha Seon-chaek bid farewell to Gyeongseong-gun. He dismounted and embraced her one last time. Cha Seon-chaek gave him a handkerchief, wishing for his swift return. After parting with Gyeongseong-gun, Cha Seon-chaek told her parents about their secret marriage. She planned to move to her husband's home. While packing, she found a pixie ornament in a drawer. Seeing it caused a sudden, intense headache. After a dizzy spell, she fainted in the room. Meanwhile, on the road to the frontier, Gyeongseong-gun was ambushed. Assassins swarmed toward him. Gyeongseong-gun found himself trapped in a deadly encirclement. After waking up, Cha Seon-chaek asked her maid where the doll ornament came from, as she had bought an identical one in the real world. The maid told Cha Seon-chaek that she had obtained it herself from a witch earlier. In truth, Cha Seon-chaek had grown tired of her predictable life and sought a change, so she went to the witch. The witch asked her to choose an item that could solve her troubles, and Cha Seon-chaek picked the doll from among the various ornaments. Upon hearing this, Cha Seon-chaek realized her book jumping might be connected to the doll and hurried to find the witch. The witch told her the doll would allow her to begin a new life. Soon after, the witch asked if Cha Seon-chaek was worried about her beloved. Cha Seon-chaek did not deny it. The witch then cast a hexagram, only to find it unusually strange. She admitted she had never seen such a reading, and didn't understand its meaning. Cha Seon-chaek couldn't help but grow concerned, but the most urgent matter was Gyeongseong-gun's safety. She decided to move to Gyeongseong-gun's house immediately. Meanwhile, Du Hwaseon accidentally overheard a conversation between a merchant group's servants. Believing she had found Jo Yoon-a's weakness, Du Hwaseon rushed to warn Jo Yoon-a, claiming she had witnesses, and would hand her over to the Office of Censorate. To her surprise, Jo Yoon-a showed no fear, her cruel arrogance completely different from before. As for the king, after Gyeongseong-gun left, Lee Ji-woo became his most trusted advisor, unaware that Lee Ji-woo had long concealed malicious intentions. One day, his subordinates reported that Gyeongseong-gun had died in battle. Lee Ji-woo knew the time had come. He then went to see the king. Upon hearing of Gyeongseong-gun's death, the king was deeply sorrowful. He realized his health was worsening and had no heir to succeed him. Lee Ji-woo advised the king to rest and temporarily set aside state affairs. With no son to appoint, The king didn't know whom to trust with the government. Li Jiwayu urged him to decide on abdication before the Black Soil faction could seize power. The king pondered in silence. Meanwhile, Cha Xianchek also learned of Gyeongseong, Gun's supposed death. She refused to believe it, and resolved to search for him herself. But as soon as she stepped out, she encountered Li Jiwayu. Cha Xianchek begged Li Jiwayu to persuade the king to send reinforcements to rescue Gyeongseong Gun. Li Jiwayu took the opportunity to propose marriage between himself and Cha Xianchek. Cha Xianchek was shocked at Li Gyu's audacity and angrily rejected him. Li Jiwayu, enraged, revealed that he himself had orchestrated Gyeongseong, Gun's death. He boasted that his righteous cause would soon be fulfilled. Cha Xianchek immediately realized Li Jiwayu was the leader of the Black Soil faction. She vowed never to marry him. Li Jiwayu forced himself upon her, only to be slapped. Meanwhile, Young Soo-jeom learned of Gyeongseong, Gun's death, and resolved to find him dead or alive. To stop him, his father drew his sword, leading to a final rift between them. Together, Young Soo-jeom set off with Cha Xianchek. That morning in court, the king announced his intention to abdicate in favor of Li Jiwayu. The court was stunned. Cha Xianchek's father was the first to oppose, arguing that such a decision should not be rushed. After his protest, many officials joined in until one was killed by Li Jiwayu for merely mentioning Gyeongseong, Gun's name. Meanwhile, before reaching the battlefield, Cha Xianchek and Young Soo-jeom were captured by Li Gyu's men. They were accused of being sent by the king to arrest the daughter of a rebel. The next day, Li Jiwayu personally oversaw the execution of Cha Xianchek's family. Cha Xianchek was first to be executed. As the executioner's blade fell, time froze. The novel's server had crashed, rendering it unreadable. When Cha Xianchek woke up again, she found herself back in her real-world home, facing her true self. Only then did she realize they had swapped bodies. Son had entered the book, while the other had crossed into reality. Their transpositions had been triggered by making the same wish to the same desire to change their lives. The real Cha Xianchek told Cha Xianchek that Gyeongseong Gun was not dead yet. Caught in an ambush, Gyeongseong Gun fought desperately, but was outnumbered. He was wounded by arrows. Just as the enemy was about to kill him, time stopped. Now their problem was, how could they save Gyeongseong, Gun, and Cha Xianchek's family? As they pondered, someone knocked on the door. Cha Xianchek recognized the Boya medicinal herb gatherer. Delighted she remembered him, the boy immediately introduced himself. In the book, he was the matchmaker who connected couples, but in the real world, he was a serial novelist. However, the current plot was not his own writing. Cha Xianchek had changed it by entering the story. The matchmaker said he could help one last time. He asked the two Cha Xiancheks to decide, return to the past, or continue living swapped lives. They looked at each other and chose the latter. The matchmaker granted them a chance to rewrite the ending, but only in 3 sentences. Meanwhile, the server was upgrading, leaving only 5 minutes. Cha Xianchek panicked, unsure what to write. The real Cha Xianchek comforted her, reminding her she knew the world best. Cha Xianchek forced herself to calm down and typed. The 5 minutes passed. The upgrade completed. The story resumed. The executioner raised his blade. A bee stung his face, making him grimace in pain. Li Jiwayu ordered a new executioner. At the crucial moment, Cha Xianchek spoke 4 words. A vicious dog spoils the wine. Li Jiwayu halted the execution. These words marked the beginning of his Black Soil faction. He had seen Gyeongseong Gun as the king's guard dog and eliminated him. Now, he himself had become the mad dojiger to usurp the throne. Cha Xianchek mocked Li Jiwayu, saying, "But you must be careful. Do all those Black Soil faction members truly support you?" Li Jiwayu paused in thought. He decided to give Cha Xianchek one last chance. If she married him, she would become the most honorable woman in the kingdom. Cha Xianchek refused without hesitation. Li Jiwayu made up his mind to eliminate her completely. At the critical moment, Gyeongseong Gun arrived. Not only was he alive, but he had returned to rescue Cha Xianchek. One of Cha Xianchek's lines in the ending was, "At the moment the sun and moon merged, The matchmaking jade created a miracle. This sentence changed Gyeongseong. Gun's Fateh was no longer meant to die. As the enemy leader swung his sword, a flash of light blinded him. Gyeongseong-gun seized his fallen sword and struck back. Instead of killing him, Gyeongseong-gun merely cut off his hair. Moved by this act, the enemy leader called for a truce. Gyeongseong-gun raced back to the palace on horseback, arriving just in time to save Cha Seon-chik. Lee Ji-woo ordered his soldiers to capture Gyeongseong-gun, but they retreated in fear. Lee Ji-woo, left with no choice, charged forward with his sword, only to be swiftly overpowered. Meanwhile, Young Soo-jeom knelt outside the palace with the 3 office officials and scholars, begging the king to revoke the abdication decree. They were surrounded by Black Soil faction members, until Gyeongseong-gun's guards arrived. Hearing that Gyeongseong-gun was safe, Jung Soo-gyeom burst into tears. After ensuring Cha Seon-chik's family's safety, Gyeongseong-gun went to see the king. The king was already unconscious. The imperial physicians discovered poison in the agarwood Lee Ji-woo had given him. Full recovery would take a long time. After the acupuncture treatment, the king awoke. Seeing Gyeongseong-gun, he thought he was seeing a ghost. The king confessed to Gyeongseong-gun, regretting that he had killed Gyeongseong-gun's mother and forced Gyeongseong-gun to spill blood. Gyeongseong-gun watched the kneeling king and felt fully at ease. At that moment, the Grand Queen entered. She begged Gyeongseong-gun to step forward for the sake of the crumbling kingdom and the faltering king. She vowed to support him with all her strength. Meanwhile, Jo Yoon-ae tried to sneak away but opened the door to find Do Hwa-seon. Cha Seon-chik was heartbroken upon learning Jo Yoon-ae's actions. She had once loved her so much. In the prison, Cha Seon-chik questioned Jo Yoon-ae. "Why did you become like this?" Jo Yoon-ae replied that she had always been this way. Only her methods changed because Cha Seon-chik had interfered in her life. Jo Yoon-ae had always resented Cha Seon-chik. Whatever she desperately sought, Cha Seon-chik effortlessly obtained. Cha Seon-chik believed no one should ever harm others, but Jo Yoon-ae showed no remorse. Elsewhere, the Black Soil faction was captured. Lee Ji-woo denied being its leader and falsely accused Gyeongseong-gun of deceiving the king. Lee Ji-woo was confident Gyeongseong-gun had no proof, but he was wrong. The king himself stepped in. He declared that anyone who confessed now would be spared, with no punishment passed to their children. As soon as the king finished, Jung Soo-gyeom's father was the first to identify Lee Ji-woo. Do Hwa-seon's father followed, exposing Lee Gyu's crimes. With undeniable proof, the king ordered Lee Ji-woo executed on the spot. But Gyeongseong-gun hesitated. He had resolved never to kill again. The king tried to do it himself but was stopped by Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun urged the king to stop the bloodshed. Killing breeds hatred, it will come back to haunt us. The king, reflecting on all those sleepless nights, lowered his sword and left the matter to Gyeongseong-gun. Gyeongseong-gun spared Lee Gyu's life. He ordered Lee Ji-woo exiled instead. Before leaving, Cha Seon-chik visited Lee Ji-woo. The real Cha Seon-chik had a message for him. Cha Seon-chik hoped Lee Ji-woo would find his own path, not let hatred blind him. Lee Ji-woo had long noticed Cha Seon-chik was different, but it no longer mattered. He told her to pass a message to the real Cha Seon-chik. He would never stop, but he never got the chance. The exile ship sank in a storm. Lee Ji-woo was gone forever. Jung Soo-jeom reconciled with his father. The two fished together like ordinary father and son, hoping to catch a grouper. While they enjoyed simple happiness, Do Hwa-seon's father faced her with a stick as he confessed his sins. Gyeongseong-gun wanted a grand wedding, but Cha Seon-chik hesitated. The witch had said that once a story ended, everything would end. Novels often concluded with weddings. She didn't want to part with Gyeongseong-gun. Cha Seon-chik revealed the truth: she was from another world. She hoped Gyeongseong-gun would abandon the wedding plan so they could stay together forever. But Gyeongseong-gun said he only cared about the woman before him, not whether she was the real Cha Seon-chik. His words gave her courage. She agreed to the wedding. If she could be with her loved one, what did it matter if the world vanished? One was Gyeongseong-gun. The other was the daughter of the Grand Secretary. The wedding was magnificent. Cha Seon-chaek tossed her bouquet. Whoever caught it would star in the next wedding. Du Hwaseon caught it and smiled at Cha Seon, Cheek's brother. Fate was strange. The Grand Secretary's household would soon celebrate again. Meanwhile, in the real world, Cha Seon-chaek smiled at the novel's ending. The story will continue even after it ends. She walked to the water's edge and threw away the puppet. And in the novel's world, Cha Seon-chaek sealed the puppet away. The story's world didn't disappear. Years later, Cha Seon-chaek and her brothers had children. Watching them play, the Grand Secretary groaned in frustration. Yoon Soo-jeom still missed Jo Yoon-ae. But Jo Yoon-ae seemed to have lost her memory. Perhaps forgetting was the best ending for her. A chance to start anew. Once Cha Seon-chaek confirmed the novel's world wouldn't vanish, she finally felt at peace. She would live happily with Gyeong Seong-gun forever.